Hello, future doctors. Welcome to Synapse, your ultimate NEET preparation platform. Today, we are diving into a crucial topic in Class 11 Biology, disorders of the excretory products and their elimination. We'll uncover how our body's waste removal system can go wrong. From basic concepts to competitive insights, we'll explore the causes, symptoms, and treatments of various kidney-related ailments. Get ready for an in-depth journey through easy, medium, hard, and hardest levels. Let's start our journey with the basics. In this easy segment, we'll introduce you to some common kidney disorders and their straightforward symptoms. It's all about understanding the fundamentals. Our kidneys are truly incredible, constantly filtering our blood to keep us healthy. But what happens when they don't work properly? Kidney disorders can range from mild issues to life-threatening conditions. First, remember that kidneys remove waste and maintain fluid balance. When they fail, toxins build up, leading to symptoms like swelling, fatigue, and pain. One common issue is kidney stones, or renal calculi. These are hard deposits of minerals and salts that form inside the kidneys. Imagine tiny pebbles forming in your filtering system. They cause severe pain, often blood in the urine, and can lead to nausea. Dehydration and diet are common culprits. Next, we have glomerulonephritis, which is the inflammation of the glomeruli, those tiny, crucial filters in your kidneys. This inflammation reduces their ability to filter, leading to symptoms like swelling, high blood pressure, and protein or blood in your urine. It's often an immune response after an infection. Finally, if kidney function severely declines, it can lead to uremia. This is a serious condition where urea and other waste products accumulate in the blood, causing symptoms like nausea, fatigue, and confusion. It signals severe kidney failure and often requires urgent treatment. To summarize our easy content, we've covered 4 key disorders. First, general kidney disorders which impact filtration and waste removal. Second, kidney stones, which are mineral deposits causing severe pain and hematuria, often due to dehydration. Third, glomerulonephritis, an inflammation of the kidney's filters, leading to reduced function and symptoms like swelling and blood in urine. And finally, uremia, a dangerous buildup of waste products in the blood due to severe kidney failure. Understanding these basic concepts will form a strong foundation for more complex topics. Now, let's test your understanding with a few easy practice questions. Take a moment to read each question carefully and choose the best answer. These questions will help reinforce the basic definitions and symptoms we just discussed. Good luck! Ready to deepen your knowledge? In the medium level, we'll explore kidney failure in more detail, discuss life-saving treatments like dialysis and transplantation, and look at how common diseases like diabetes and hypertension impact kidney health. The excretory system is a masterpiece of homeostasis, tirelessly working to maintain our internal balance. But when its components, especially the kidneys, are compromised, a cascade of health issues can ensue. Disorders can stem from various factors including infections, genetic predispositions, autoimmune responses, or systemic conditions like diabetes and hypertension. Early diagnosis and intervention are paramount to prevent the progression of these conditions. Now, let's focus on kidney failure, also known as renal failure. This is a critical condition where the kidneys lose their ability to effectively filter waste from the blood. It comes in two main forms: acute renal failure, or AKI, which is a sudden and rapid decline in kidney function, often reversible with timely treatment. Causes can range from severe dehydration to drug toxicity or sudden blockages. In contrast, chronic renal failure, or CKD, is a gradual, progressive, and irreversible loss of kidney function that unfolds over months or even years. This often results from long-standing conditions like uncontrolled diabetes or hypertension, eventually leading to end-stage renal disease. When kidneys fail, medical science offers life-sustaining interventions. Dialysis is an artificial process that filters waste products and excess fluid from the blood. There are two primary types: hemodialysis, where a machine acts as an artificial kidney, drawing blood, filtering it, and returning it to the body. This is typically done several times a week in a clinic. The other is peritoneal dialysis, where a special fluid is introduced into the abdominal cavity, and the body's own peritoneal membrane acts as the filter. This can often be managed at home, offering more flexibility. For a more permanent solution, a kidney transplant involves surgically placing a healthy kidney from a donor into the patient. This can dramatically improve quality of life, allowing a return to near normal function. However, it requires lifelong immunosuppressant medications to prevent the body from rejecting the new organ, a critical consideration for recipients. Both dialysis and transplantation represent significant medical achievements in managing kidney failure. Two major systemic diseases, diabetes and hypertension, are leading causes of chronic kidney damage. First, diabetic nephropathy refers to kidney damage that develops as a long-term complication of diabetes mellitus. Persistently high blood sugar levels gradually harm the tiny blood vessels within the kidneys, specifically the glomeruli, impairing their filtering ability. In its early stages, it's often silent, but later signs include protein in the urine, known as albuminuria, swelling in the extremities, and elevated blood pressure. Strict control of blood glucose and blood pressure is crucial for prevention and management. Second, hypertensive nephropathy is kidney damage caused by chronic, uncontrolled high blood pressure. The relentless high pressure narrows and hardens the arteries that supply blood to the kidneys, reducing blood flow and gradually destroying the filtering units. This often progresses silently until kidney function is significantly impaired. Aggressive management of blood pressure through medication and lifestyle modifications is vital to prevent or slow down this damage, highlighting the interconnectedness of our body systems. Now, let's consolidate your understanding of these medium-level concepts with 5 practice questions. These questions will challenge you to differentiate between types of kidney failure, explain treatment principles, and connect systemic diseases to kidney damage. Take your time, think critically, and apply what you've learned. Good luck! Welcome to the hard level. Here, we'll dissect the pathophysiology of renal disorders, compare acute and chronic kidney failure, delve into specific glomerular diseases, and explore the crucial role of hormones and advanced diagnostics. Understanding kidney disorders requires grasping their pathophysiology, how disease processes specifically alter kidney structure and function. This involves damage to the glomeruli, which filter blood, the renal tubules, responsible for reabsorption and secretion, the interstitium, the supportive tissue, or the renal vasculature, the kidney's blood supply. Such damage leads to impaired filtration, electrolyte imbalances, and reduced hormone production. At a cellular level, inflammation, oxidative stress, and fibrosis are common pathways to nephron loss. Now, let's differentiate between acute kidney injury, or AKI, and chronic kidney disease, CKD. AKI is a sudden, severe, but often reversible decline in kidney function. Its causes are categorized as prerenal, due to reduced blood flow, intrarenal, involving direct kidney damage, or postrenal, caused by urine outflow obstruction. AKI presents with reduced urine output and a rapid rise in waste products. In contrast, CKD is a progressive, irreversible loss of function over months or years, often leading to end-stage renal disease. It's staged based on glomerular filtration rate, and common causes include diabetes and hypertension, leading to systemic complications like anemia and bone disease. Let's take a detailed look at glomerular diseases, which manifest primarily as two distinct syndromes. First, nephritic syndrome is characterized by visible blood in the urine, mild to moderate protein leakage, high blood pressure, and swelling, often around the eyes and ankles. The core issue here is inflammation and damage to the glomerular capillaries, leading to reduced filtration and the leakage of red blood cells. Examples include post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. Second, nephrotic syndrome presents with massive protein loss in the urine, significantly low blood albumin levels, severe widespread swelling, and high blood lipids. Here, the damage primarily affects the glomerular basement membrane and podocytes, increasing protein permeability without significant inflammation. Examples include minimal change disease. The pathogenesis of both often involves immune-mediated injury, affecting the intricate filtering units of the kidney. Understanding these differences is crucial for accurate diagnosis and targeted treatment. Hormones play a pivotal role in maintaining kidney function, and their dysregulation significantly contributes to kidney disease. The renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, or RAS, is critical for blood pressure and fluid balance. Chronic activation of RAS in kidney disease accelerates hypertension, proteinuria, and fibrosis, worsening the condition. Antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, regulates water reabsorption. Imbalances can lead to excessive urination or water retention. The kidneys also produce erythropoietin, a hormone vital for red blood cell production. In chronic kidney disease, reduced erythropoietin leads to anemia. Furthermore, kidneys are essential for converting inactive vitamin D into its active form, calcitriol. Impaired conversion in CKD causes hypocalcemia and bone disease, known as renal osteodystrophy. Finally, advanced diagnostic techniques are indispensable. Glomerular filtration rate, or GFR, is the gold standard for assessing kidney function, often estimated using serum creatinine. Urinalysis reveals clues like protein or blood. Imaging studies like ultrasound and CT scans detect structural abnormalities. Most definitively, a kidney biopsy provides tissue for microscopic examination, guiding precise diagnosis and treatment, especially for complex glomerular diseases. Now, it's time to challenge your analytical skills with 7 hard-level practice questions. These questions require you to synthesize information, differentiate between complex conditions, explain pathophysiological mechanisms, and connect various aspects of kidney function and dysfunction. Think critically, recall the details we've discussed, and apply your knowledge. Good luck! Welcome to the hardest level. Prepare for a deep dive into the molecular intricacies, cutting-edge technologies, complex immunology, and genetic underpinnings of kidney disorders. This section is designed to give you a competitive edge for NEET and beyond. At the molecular level, kidney diseases are often rooted in subtle yet profound cellular dysfunctions. Podocytes, those highly specialized cells forming the glomerular filtration barrier, are critical. Genetic mutations in their structural proteins, like nephrin or podosin, can lead to severe protein leakage seen in congenital nephrotic syndromes. Acquired damage to these cells also results in their effacement and massive proteinuria. Moving to the tubules, genetic defects in specific transporters, such as those in Bartter or Gitelman syndromes, disrupt ion reabsorption, causing electrolyte imbalances. Chronic kidney injury often progresses through a destructive cycle of inflammation and fibrosis. Key mediators like TGF-beta drive the activation of myofibroblasts, leading to excessive collagen deposition and scarring, ultimately destroying functional nephrons. Furthermore, oxidative stress, an imbalance between reactive oxygen species and antioxidants, significantly contributes to cellular damage in conditions like diabetic nephropathy, underscoring the complex interplay of cellular and molecular pathways in kidney disease. When kidneys fail, artificial kidney technology steps in. Dialysis operates on 2 fundamental principles: diffusion, where solutes move from an area of high concentration to low concentration across a semipermeable membrane, and ultrafiltration, where fluid is removed by hydrostatic or osmotic pressure. In hemodialysis, blood is circulated through a dialyzer, an artificial kidney containing thousands of hollow fibers acting as a semi-permeable membrane. Dialysate fluid flows countercurrently, optimizing the removal of waste products and excess water. Peritoneal dialysis, on the other hand, utilizes the patient's own peritoneal membrane in the abdomen as the filter. Dialysate is instilled into the cavity, allowing waste to diffuse into it before being drained. This offers flexibility, often allowing home treatment. The future of dialysis is exciting, with research focused on miniaturized, wearable artificial kidneys and even bioartificial kidneys that integrate living renal cells to mimic more complex kidney functions, pushing the boundaries of biomedical engineering. Kidney transplantation, while life-saving, is a complex immunological challenge. Central to success is histocompatibility, specifically HLA matching between donor and recipient. HLA antigens on cell surfaces are key targets for immune recognition. Poor matching increases the risk of rejection, a devastating immune attack on the new organ. We categorize rejection into three types. Hyperacute rejection, occurring minutes to hours post-transplant, is mediated by preformed antibodies against donor antigens, leading to immediate graft failure. Acute rejection, happening days to months later, is primarily T-cell mediated, sometimes antibody mediated, and often reversible with intensified immunosuppression. Finally, chronic rejection, occurring over months to years, is a multifactorial process leading to progressive fibrosis and vascular narrowing, causing slow functional decline. To prevent rejection, patients require lifelong immunosuppressive regimens, typically a combination of calcineurin inhibitors, antiproliferative agents, and corticosteroids. The challenge lies in balancing potent immunosuppression to prevent rejection with minimizing side effects like increased infection risk and malignancies. Genetic factors also play a significant role in various renal disorders. Autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, or ADPT, is the most common inherited kidney disease caused by mutations in PKD1 or PKD2 genes, leading to progressive cyst formation. Alport syndrome, often X-linked, results from mutations in type 4 collagen genes, causing progressive glomerulonephritis, hearing loss, and ocular defects. Fabry disease, another X-linked disorder, involves enzyme deficiency leading to waste accumulation and renal failure. Genetic screening and counseling are therefore crucial for early diagnosis and family planning. Understanding these intricate immunological and genetic aspects is paramount for comprehensive patient care and for tackling advanced NET questions. Beyond intrinsic factors, drug-induced nephrotoxicity is a significant concern. Drugs can damage kidneys through various mechanisms: direct tubular toxicity, as seen with aminoglycosides, where drugs concentrate in tubular cells causing necrosis. Hemodynamic-mediated injury occurs when drugs like NSAIDs alter renal blood flow, reducing filtration. Acute interstitial nephritis is an immune-mediated inflammation caused by drugs like penicillins. Crystal nephropathy involves drug precipitation in tubules, causing obstruction, as with acyclovir. Recognizing risk factors like pre-existing kidney disease, age, and dehydration is crucial for prevention. Looking ahead, the field of nephrology is rapidly evolving. Regenerative medicine offers hope with stem cell therapies for kidney repair and organoids for disease modeling and drug testing. Precision medicine aims to tailor treatments based on individual genetic profiles and biomarkers. Nanotechnology promises targeted drug delivery and advanced diagnostics. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are being deployed for early diagnosis, predicting disease progression, and optimizing treatment parameters. Ultimately, the goal is to develop bioartificial kidneys that not only filter but also replicate the complex metabolic and endocrine functions of a native kidney, transforming the landscape of renal care. Now, let's tackle the first 5 questions from our hardest level practice set. These questions demand a comprehensive understanding of molecular mechanisms, advanced treatment principles, and complex immunological concepts. Read each question carefully, analyze the options, and apply your in-depth knowledge. This is where your true competitive edge will shine. Take your time to formulate your answers. Good luck! Let's continue with the remaining 5 questions from our hardest level practice set. These questions will further test your grasp of genetic predispositions, drug-induced kidney damage, endocrine functions, and future innovations in nephrology. Push your understanding to the limit, connect different aspects of what we've learned, and demonstrate your mastery of the subject. You've got this. Keep striving for excellence. And that brings us to the end of our in-depth session on disorders of excretory products and their elimination. We've journeyed from basic definitions to the cutting edge of nephrology, covering everything you need for NEET and beyond. Remember, consistent learning and practice are key to success. For more such comprehensive educational content, practice questions, and personalized learning experiences, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more exciting biology content. Your journey to becoming a doctor starts here. Stay curious, keep learning, and excel in your exams. See you in the next session.